Hello everyone, this is Candy, the 614 Stitcher, and today is Tuesday, March the 14th. Happy Pi Day 2023, and this is my Flosstube episode number 74. I would like to say hello and welcome to any new subscribers that I have. I thank you so very much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and visit with me and maybe being enabled with a project or two. And to all of my returning friends and subscribers, thank you so very much for coming back each and every time that I do upload a video. I have been stitching quite a bit, even though my son was here for 10 days. I still was able to get in some stitching, which was great. He allowed me to stitch. We basically just hung around the house. Saturday we went out shopping to a, it's called Tanger Outlet here in Ohio. And so we went there and we went to IKEA and got a few things. And so it was a very relaxed, laid back visit. He came to check on his mom, and so I'm very grateful for that. He's a great kid, and so I am very thankful that he was able to come and see about me, and I was able to spend some good quality time with him. So, and I thank you all so very much for your nice comments about him coming to visit. It was a great surprise. I'm not one that is big on surprises, but that was a great one to have. So thank you all so very much for that. I do have a lot to share today, so we're going to just jump right in. I will be showing you my whips. I don't have any new starts and no finishes, so it'll be all whips today. I have a tiny bit of investments, and then I will give you my plans for the upcoming week, including Saturday. I have some plans for Saturday, so you'll have to stay tuned for those. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. I, again, have several whips to share, and so we're going to start with Temperature Butterflies, which is by Stitching Mommy. And here is what my pattern, when it's finished, will look like. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here it is now. Please forgive me, I'm a little off with my son leaving and everything, so please grant me some grace on my video this week. So I was able to finish completely the May butterfly, and these temperatures range in the low 60s to the mid 80s, which is down here. The 60s are the green, and the ranges in the 70s are these peach colors here. I was able to go ahead on and start on the June butterfly, and here are some of the 80s. Since I have this like this, I am doing some color completing as I go along before I move down to the next 3 butterflies, which will be July, August, and September. And that is where we are now with it. And I am still loving it. You'll be seeing some more of this next week, as I just landed on a huge stitching prompt that I have to work on until the 19th. So you'll be seeing some more. When I have big prompts in the road trip, I pick bigger projects where I can get a lot of stitches in quickly, and so one of my go-tos is temperature butterfly. So that was that, and I used the stitches on the May side to purchase a chatelaine kit at a shop called Batten Kill Stitchery. I'll be explaining what I stitched, the prompts that I stitched for. I'll be explaining those as I go along for the foreseeable future, so you'll know that I am still participating in the road trip. And I actually picked up another game, for lack of a better term, and it's called Categories. So I'll let you know when I get to those also. My next WIP that I worked on is Winter Snowfall, and that is by Shannon Christine Designs. And here's a picture of what that will look like someday. And here's a picture of where it was when I last worked on it. So I had a question. Here is where I am now. I did have a question about the use of the floss and how the coverage was. And so I'm gonna hold it up really close to the camera so that you can see the coverage is perfect. You know, this is a purple fabric, and so you cannot see any purple within there coming through. It is a very, very, very good one strand floss. So I stitched on this past Sunday in a Zoom group, and usually I don't have any problems. This week I did. It is off within this section here, and so I put 95 stitches in this piece this past Sunday, and I'm going to end up taking all of those stitches out. Since this was the last Sunday that I was going to be stitching on Winter Snowfall, I do not want to end my Winter Snowfall stitching in air and then try to remember where I was when I come back to this again in winter or whenever I might need it again. So I'm going to remove those 95 stitches, and it will actually end up being right back to where it was, which was here when I put this away. I have decided that that would be the best way for me to proceed with it, so that I don't have to try to remember in 6 to 9 months where I was and what the problem was with it. So I'll be getting those stitches out before the 19th because I also will be starting my spring stitching on Sunday the 19th. So there is where we are with Winter Snowfall. And again, if you have a desire to use floss, I would recommend it highly. It does come in long skeins. It comes almost like yarn when it comes, and then you have to cut it apart. But it's very easy to cut apart. It's tied off in 2 sections, and just snip it at those sections, and then you have your lace. I have found that I do use shorter lengths only because I am using Aida as a fabric, and the Aida that I'm using is very soft. It is Symphony by, oh, I didn't tell you about Temperature Butterfly. So let me give you the stats on the fabric. The fabric is a gray snow stitches, and it's called Symphony, And I am using right now 1 strand of Floss. And even though, as you can see, the Aida is very pliable, it's not stiff at all, because of the way Aida is made, it does still fray the floss a little bit. Floss is a softer floss than what regular DMC is, so I do use shorter lengths in when I'm stitching with it. I have purchased Floss in black, which is 310, and then I also purchased Blanc, which is white, to use for this project. The fabric that I am using for temperature butterflies is a 28 count Artemis by Stitch Me, and I am using a color conversion that I have done with sulky threads. So I'm using 1 strand of sulky over 2 even weave threads. Okay, so now I think I'm up to date. For the winter Snowfall, I used that to purchase a full coverage kit, which was 200 stitches at the Scarlet Creation Stitchery. And yeah, I'm just going to keep telling you what I used each project for, because now when I'm stitching, I'm using it for a prompt, either in the magazine monthly group or in the road trip group, and or Whip Warriors, because I'm also doing some things in that main group also. So my very next pattern that I worked on was Fairy Garden, and that's by Carolyn Manning. And I am stitching this green one here. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. I am stitching this on a 14 count. It's called Christmas Cactus by Fortnite Fabrics. And I am using the called for DMC floss on it. And this time I was able to put in this middle motif and these 3 motifs. It is going to be a square, and one side will mimic the other. So the middle is completely different, but then all of this will be the same going down and across. And I love this piece. I was using this for my 25/7. It's good to go through your whips occasionally and then be able to pull out pieces that you haven't worked on in a while. That's how I've ended up with some of the pieces this month, going through my whips and logging them. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I haven't touched this in forever. And I pull it out and show it some love and get reacquainted and invested in getting some stitches in on it, which is very good. So that was my Fairy Garden, and I used Fairy Garden to travel to Golden Thread Needle Art and to purchase a Krynic kit, which was a total of 327 stitches. My next whip I worked on was, I lost my whole train of thought with that. My next WIP that I worked on was Women of Honor Sampler. And I worked on this for International Women's Day, which was March the 8th. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. So I have been having a really rough time with this pattern, taking pictures of it. So it's actually a little more done than what I had shown previously. I have steadily come down the border again. I put in this part of the border, and then I went over and started on the flower motif. I am stitching this on a 40 count country mocha, and I am using all of the called for flosses, which are Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works. I am using one strand, so as you can see with the motif here, the corner motif, because I'm using one strand, I am just picking a strand and just stitching with it. I am not trying to match up anything. I think that it adds character to the piece to just let it flow, let the thread flow like it as I pull it off. So there's some lighter parts, there's some darker parts, and I am really enjoying that. This color, which is Weeping Willow, is not as variegated as what Honeycomb is, and so the variegation will be less, you won't see it as much, but you will as I stitch the flower, because this floss is highly variegated, and that is Deep Blue Sea by Classic Color Works. I am enjoying this project still. It has been my Representation Matters piece for this month, and I still have stitches that I need to get in on it because I put it in my magazine monthly challenge for 250 stitches. And right now, I'm sorry, I put it in for 350 stitches, and right now I'm sitting at 212 stitches. So I do still have some work to get done on that before the end of the month. I believe that I can still make the goal. That's not going to be the problem. I just need to focus on it when it's early in the day, when my eyes are fresh, because of it being on the 40 count. But I am totally good with stitching on that, and I love it. Thank you, Colleen, for making such a wonderful design. So that was International Women's Day, and at that time, I stitched 102 stitches on it, which was that little part of the flower and that coming down the side for the side border. The next WIP that I stitched on was Seasonal Sunshine by Ink Circles. And here is what that chart looks like. I will be doing my finished part as this framed. I don't know why words are escaping me, but so I'll be doing mine as a frame, as the framed piece. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So I Yeah, that's right. So I put in all of the rest of the top. This is the sky. And so I always seem to make it be like wind. So this is the wind that I've put in. I've also started on the fill-in around the wind for autumn. This is for spring, which is fitting. So that is where I am now. I have all of the stitches in for the sky on this part, and I'll be working on the backgrounds fill in on this. I also, if you recall, had some errors in the winter sky. So I have went back in now and I have started filling in the white stitches for the winter sky. And once I have it all filled in, I will do the background stitching for that also. A little at a time, one stitch at a time, and it'll get done. This is on my year of WIPs for this year, so I would like to see it get finished for this year. So that is my seasonal sun sign. It is being stitched on a 16 count Charles Craft Ada, and I am using the called for DMC colors for that. I used that project to travel to Niagara Falls, and I put in 160 stitches. I also used it at the Witches Stitches Needlework shop, and I put in 106 stitches for that shop. So that's where we are with that. My next WIP, keeping in with the Ink Circles theme, is Half the Fun. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where I am now. So I will show it all and then I'll show you where I worked at. So I put in pardon me. I don't know why I didn't remember to pick up a board before. I have come down. I already had the helicopter and this motorcycle, bicycle here. So then I put in the horse. I put in the gondola. I have also put in the cruise ship, the unicycle, the skateboard, and the car. I was stitching away on this piece, let me tell you. I know it seems really, I love Ink Circles charts, and especially ones where they mirror each other on four corners. I just love them. So I was very busy stitching away on this piece. I literally picked it up 3 days in a row. And I do not have the total stitches, but it is, oh, I do. The total stitches that I stitched for 3 days is 410 stitches. I would put it down and then I would go right back to pick it up. I did use this. I needed to purchase a registration for retreat at for the road trip, and I needed 400 stitches, and 3 days I put them in on this piece. So I love it. So when I pick this up again, I will need to put this airplane in next to this car, and then I can start coming down some more and going across until I get to the middle where the hot air balloons are. This is being stitched on a 16 count Fortnite fabrics, and I don't know what the name of it is. And I am using Vampish by, at that time it was called Leo and Roxy. It is now called Roxy Co, I believe. So if you are looking, and it is, I know on the screen it looks black, but it is actually the darkest purple I have found. It does have a bit of gray modeling to it, or variegation to it, but it is a purple thread. So that is where I am now with half the fun, and I am loving it. So that is that one. My next whip that I worked on for my friend Debbie's birthday. And I'm sorry, Debbie, I haven't posted it to the hashtag yet, but I will. Don't worry. And it was... I have to make sure because the pattern is right here. I don't want to show the pattern. It was surf and sand and surf, and this is a needle set. So this is a pin pillow and a scissor fob. I am working on the pillow, and here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So I came down and put in some more of the water for this piece. I was sticking with the color that I was already working on. So there'll be some more darker blues still in there before I get to the lighter blues and the whites. I am stitching this on a 28 count piece of mystery stash fabric, and I am using the called for DMCs. This chart is in the August 2020 Just Cross Stitch magazine, and the designer is Kim Beamish. And I chose the fabric so that it looked more like sand. They used more of a white fabric, which I haven't been on a white sandy beach, but I've heard they exist. So it is my goal one day to see a white sand beach. So that is where we are with that. And again, I promised Debbie, I will put it on the hashtag so you will have it for your birthday reminder. I also used that for sightseeing in Niagara Falls for the road trip, and I put in 111 stitches. So my next whip is Stitchcon 2022. And this is by Sue Hillis Designs, and it was an exclusive for the attendees at Stitchcon 2022. And my goal is to get it done before Stitchcon 2023. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where I am now. So when I last showed this, I believe, I had all of this all done. So this morning, I actually picked this up this morning because even though I didn't make a video on Saturday, my plans continue on and I have to stay up to my plans. So I picked this up this morning and I started on the scroll frame with the initials in it. And I have my fabric, which is a 28 count color and cotton Ophelia, matched exactly to what she called for here for the fabric on the scroll frame. So I decided to use 3865. So mine will be different, of course. And I also chose to use the banding strips that she put on the side of hers. I chose to make my banding strips purple, just so that I can pull in one more purple element, because it's me. So when I pick this up again, which will be later on this evening, I'll be working on the scroll frame some more. I want to get everything, I want to keep going down and not jumping around on this piece. So that's why I chose to go ahead and start in the middle with the scroll frame, because the next element that I'll have to put in is the name, the tomato, the bus, and the walkway. Then I'll have quite a bit of back stitching to get done. So I have all of this red thread that needs to be back stitched. I have this that needs to be back stitched. I still have to finish the word thread. And then I have all of these X's that will need, and the word keepsake Cincinnati. All of that is back stitched, so I have all of that still to do. So I want to make sure that I have my that everything is in the correct space before I start doing the back stitching, to count off to make sure that it's all lined up correctly. So I do still have some branches that need to be put over in the house, but again, that's back stitching and I'm going to wait. That'll be like one of the last things that I do, probably after I do all the back stitching for that thread that runs all the way through the words. So I am using some of the called for DMC. I also have been making my own thread conversion when necessary. So that is where I am on Stitchcon 2022. It is also part of my year of WIPs. So I would like to see it get finished this year. My goal is actually to have it finished before Stitchcon starts, or shortly thereafter. I thought it would be really cool to be able to ring the bell with the finishing of that piece for this year. And if I didn't say, that is by Miss Sue Hillis. Somehow I feel like I forgot that. So my last WIP for this time is Remembering 9/11. Yeah. Remembering 9/11, and here's a picture of what it looks like. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it and worked on it. And here's where I am now. So I stitched on this piece part of the road trip. We are going to New York City, and the prompt was if you have a piece that has a part of New York City in it, you know, you get extra credit, points, blah, blah, blah. And so I pulled this piece out because it will always symbolize New York City to me. I finished the 9 and put in this square, and I then put in the first tower. I didn't put down how many stitches I put in it. So I did this for traveling and sightseeing in the Statue of Liberty, and I traveled to the Statue of Liberty with this, and also for sightseeing in the city. It's a good thing I don't worry about showing my backs. Well, wouldn't you know it, I didn't even put in how many stitches that I did put in it, but it was, oh, you know what? I have it right here. I put in 53 for one part and 167 for the sightseeing part. So I put in over 200 stitches, which is finishing up the 9 and the towers, the first tower. So it was a very emotional stitch, but it was good to pull it out and to get some work put in on it. I wasn't able to even stitch on it last year. It was too emotional for me, so it was good. Maybe I need to stitch on it when it's not September, so that I can actually work on it and not be so emotional about stitching on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and move to my plans. Right now, as it stands, I will be working on Spring Quakers starting on Sunday, March the 19th. I know spring isn't until the 20th, but I'm over winter now, especially since it's been snowing for 3 days straight here. Not enough snow that it is staying overnight. Like, it snows in the morning, and I mean snows. Snow showers like nobody's business. And then it'll stay on the ground, and then by the afternoon it's gone. But we have probably had more snow in the past 3 days than we've had in the past 3 months. It is crazy. The minute that the calendar is like, okay, it's time for spring, boom, it's going to just start snowing and be extra super cold. It was, I had to go out for lunch today, and it was 29 degrees at 1:30 this afternoon. So I'm not sure exactly what my temperature gauge over there says that it's a whopping 33 right now. So I'm glad that the Texan made it back to the heat before the extreme, what they would have considered extreme cold came. We were supposed to go to brunch on Sunday, but it snowed. And so they just decided that they were going to sleep in and not worry about going out in the extra cold. So I'll be working on Spring Quaker starting on Sunday, and that will be my seasonal stitch from now until I am ready to put it down and pick up another seasonal stitch. I've decided that I need to be more flexible with myself. Winter Quakers has taught me that, so that's what I'm going to be. I will also be working on Steel Rose. I would plan on taking Steel Rose. I have a retreat starting on the 23rd of March. Yes, starting on the 23rd of March. I will be going to Fancy Works in Indiana, and I plan on taking that piece with me to have some outline so that I can just do some fill-in stitching. I'll be working on doing some more outlining so I can have that for filling in for the retreat. I also will be working more on, like I said, later on this evening on Stitchcon 2022. And I will continue to work on Women of Honor for my Representation Matters for this month. As of right now, those are the plans that I have. I still need to put in 49 stitches on the Fairy Garden for this month for my magazine monthly goals. I have 34 more stitches that I need to put in on Seasonal Sunshine, because my goal for that is 300 stitches this month. Woman of Honor, I still need to get in quite a bit, over 100. I need to put in over 100 stitches on that. And I need to also put some work into 3 Little Words and decide if I am going to let that last border be the bottom border, or if there is actually room to put in the other 3 borders that go on. So those will be some things that I'll be working on this upcoming week. I do plan on having a video on Saturday. It will not be a regular Flosstube video. It will be a, well, this Saturday I do plan on having a video, even though today is Tuesday. I'm going to show whatever little progress that I have this coming Saturday. And then for the Saturday of March the 25th, I am planning on a special edition Flosstube, so you'll have to check it out and let me know what you think. I'll have to record that early and have it scheduled. Sorry, I got distracted. And have it scheduled for to post, to upload on the 25th of March. So I'll be making sure that gets done. Again, I have a few little investments. I received my Fabric of the Month from Be Stitch Me. No, I'm sorry, not Be Stitch Me. Color and Cotton. And it is a 28 count. And it is called Waterfall. And that is pretty spot on right there. I am trying to get this club, the fabric updated in this club. I want to change it to a higher count. So when I get in touch with her, that will happen. That was my Fabric of the Month. I also received my Threads of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop. And these are the Floss Fix, which are classic color works. And this is Baby Chick, Baking Tin, Balsam Fir, Bambino, Bamboo, and this red one, there we go, is called Bandana. So there's where I am now with my Floss of the Month Club. We are steadily moving through the bees. Again, I am not for sure if they have openings. I would encourage you to check and see if you are interested in being in the Floss of the Month Club. The next item I also received from them, from Fat Quarter Shop, was the Stitch Quarterly. Like, I had to think of the name. And isn't this a cute spring bag? And it came with a very pretty needle minder, a cut of 14 count Ada Sugar and Cream by Fiber on a Whim, the flosses for the chart, and a John James needle, their new floss tags that they have developed, and these are really nice. You do have to have a zipper or some kind of tag holder, or another word that I want to say, but I can't pull it up in my head right now. Anyway, it has a lobster claw clasp, and that's why I said it needs some kind of holder on it, but it's really cute. And then it also came with the beautiful chart, and I'm going to take it out of the plastic. I am going to keep this one and start it. I think I'm in the mood for a new start. The last couple of days have been very emotional for me. And I think a new start would help happy me up a little bit. But here is, it's called Sweet Laurel. And here is what it looks like finished. And since I just did one of these rolls, I know exactly how to do it. It did not come with the rickrack though, so I will have to get the rickrack. And I'm not sure if they even say who's. It's a Moda fabric, and they used Lori Holt's. Her is rickrack is called Vintage Trim, so that is who used it. This is a Moda fabric and Lori Holt's Vintage Trim. But isn't that the cutest? I totally am wanting to stitch this. So let me see. Here's a closer picture of what it looks like. So it's a flower, a motif, and then flowers around it. So I am going to stitch this. And I'm actually thinking that I will be starting it sooner rather than later. Again, I just need something, I just need a new start, I think. It's been a while since I've started something new, so I'm thinking I'm in the mood for a new start. I also received my pine needles. Life is just a bowl of cross stitch April. And here is what it looks like in the bowl. And so I received the ribbon, the little Easter greetings card, some Lady Dot Chanel, some more rickrack, the template for the candy roll, the backing fabric, sorry, it's got two backing fabrics. That's why I'm like, maybe they're giving you your choice. Oh, you know what? I think it's for the, it is. They give you two pieces of fabric, and I'll show you in a minute what those are for. Then the backing fabric for the pillow, and the Ada for the pillow. So they have come up with a neat little design, and I was so intrigued. I said, I am definitely going to try this. I didn't realize that they had put the fabric in for you to try this with, but there are two fabrics. And it is for you to make these cute Easter eggs out of. So they provide you with all of the directions and the template to be able to make these Easter eggs out of the fabric. So they provided these 2 pieces of fabric, and of course the eggs won't take this much fabric. They also provided you with 3 different sizes of eggs you can make. So because I have a template and I have a fabric stash like nobody, like a fabric store, I could be a quilt store. I have so much fabric in my living room. I have decided that I am going to make a couple of different eggs in fabric that I already also have. So there is that. And I am going to be starting this sooner rather than later so that I can get it completed for Easter. Although this for me is spring, Easter to me is celebrating the gift that God provided for us when he raised his son from the dead. And that is exactly what I believe. And I am not ashamed of it. So I will stitch these as spring pieces, but they are not Easter pieces for me. Okay. Alrighty. Well, now that I've said all of that, I truly appreciate and thank you all so very much for sticking by me, even when I'm not on or when I post a message. I hope that you all did see the message that I posted yesterday. I had planned on doing this Flosstube yesterday, but I just could not bring myself to get it together. And then I made a promise back in January at the beginning of the year that no matter what, I was going to put up a Flosstube, and I have to honor that and be a woman of my word. And so here I am today. And I'm glad that I am doing the Flosstube today. It always brings me joy to share with all of you what I am stitching and reading your comments about how much you enjoy watching my Flosstubes. I so really appreciate it. Please continue to keep me in your thoughts this week. I appreciate that so very much also. And hopefully soon I'll be able to enlighten you on what has been going on with me health-wise once I, have more information. So I want you all to have a very good week. Get in lots of stitching time. If you are having spring weather, please enjoy it and send some my way, please. I would appreciate it. And I will see you all on Saturday. Have a good evening. Bye.